few people truly understand what happened to one of the most advanced civilizations in ancient history. A society with running water, organized cities, and advanced engineering thousands of years before Rome, and then it vanished. No final battle, no clear invasion, no single explanation, just silence. Welcome to DuskArchives. This is bedtime history, where we explore the past slowly, calmly, and in depth. The Indus Valley Civilization did not vanish overnight in a single moment. Its story, like the winding rivers that once nourished its cities, unfolds in slow, measured phases. Archaeologists trace its timeline through layers of earth and time, using the language of pottery, bricks, and radiocarbon dates. These markers reveal a civilization that grew, flourished, and then transformed over centuries, not hours or days. The chronology begins with the early or pre-Harappan phase. Around 3300 BCE, small villages dotted the floodplains of the Indus and the ancient Khagga-Hakra rivers. Life centered on mud brick houses and painted pottery, with people gathering along fertile banks. Over the next 7 centuries, these settlements multiplied, connected by trade and shared traditions. By 2600 BCE, the mature phase arrived. This was the civilization's golden age. Cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro rose from the plains, their streets laid out in careful grids, their bricks fired to precise proportions. Archaeologists have pinpointed the start of this era with radiocarbon samples from charred seeds and bones, placing the transition to urban life at about 2670 BCE. The mature phase lasted for roughly 7 centuries, a long, steady period marked by order, standardization, and quiet prosperity. Then, around 1900 BCE, the late phase began. The great cities grew quieter. People moved away from the urban centers, returning to smaller villages. Pottery styles changed, bricks lost their uniformity, and the maintenance of city infrastructure slowed. The civilization did not end with a single event. Instead, its energy faded gradually, like the slow dimming of a lamp. By 1300 BCE, the last echoes of the Indus cities had fallen silent, leaving only scattered traces across the landscape. This chronological framework, early, mature, late, emerges from more than 70 radiocarbon dates collected at sites like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Each phase blends into the next, with no sharp dividing line. Some villages lingered longer than others. Some cities declined quickly, while others held on for centuries. Archaeologists now see the story of the Indus Valley as a slow-motion transformation, not a sudden collapse. The civilization's disappearance remains unresolved, shaped by shifting rivers, changing climates, and forces still debated today. No single theory fully explains how such an advanced society could fade so quietly. Even now, thousands of years later, the Indus Valley Civilization remains one of history's greatest mysteries. A society that rose in brilliance and disappeared without a clear trace. And as the night grows quieter, their story fades once again into silence. The Indus Valley stretches out as a vast, flat canvas, shaped by water and time. Here, the land is built from layers of fine silt, rich alluvium carried down from the Himalayas by rivers that have wandered and changed course for thousands of years. The heart of this landscape is the great Indus River and its many branches, joined by the ancient Khagga-Hakra Channel. During the Bronze Age, these rivers did not flow as they do now. Satellite images and sediment cores show a latticework of old beds, some now dry, some still carrying monsoon floods. The Khagga-Hakra, often called the Lost Saraswati, once wound its way through this region, nourishing settlements that grew along its banks. Seasons here are defined by the rhythm of the monsoon. Each summer, heavy rains sweep in from the Indian Ocean, swelling the rivers, flooding the plains, and leaving behind a new layer of fertile soil. The people of the Indus Valley learned to read these cycles. They planted wheat, barley, and pulses as soon as the waters receded, relying on the rich earth left behind. In dry years, the rivers shrank and the land grew parched and cracked. But in most years, the monsoon's return meant renewal, a dependable pulse of life that allowed villages to thrive and, eventually, cities to rise. The alluvial plain itself is remarkably flat, with only gentle undulations marking old river courses and ancient levees. This flatness made it possible to lay out streets in perfect grids and to channel water with precision. Archaeologists have traced the outlines of long-lost riverbeds, some running within just a few kilometers of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. These paleo-channels, now visible only as faint lines in the soil or subtle changes in vegetation, once supplied water for crops, for people, and for the intricate systems of wells and drains that would define the urban centers to come. This landscape was both generous and unpredictable. Floods could bring abundance or disaster. Rivers sometimes shifted overnight, carving new paths and leaving old settlements stranded. But for centuries, the balance held. The Indus Plain, with its shifting rivers and monsoon-fed soils, became the stage for one of the world's earliest city-building cultures. Here, water was not just a resource, it was the silent architect of civilization, shaping every field, every street, and every life. The story of the Indus Valley is inseparable from the story of its rivers, and from the subtle, powerful changes that would one day alter their course. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro rise from the plains as silent witnesses to a vanished world. Each city sits atop a broad mound built from centuries of layered brick and earth. Harappa's mound stretches nearly 2 kilometers, its highest point crowned by the remains of a fortified platform. Mohenjo-Daro, farther south, rests on an island of baked clay, its ancient streets still visible beneath the dust of ages. Both cities were shaped by careful hands and measured minds. Their streets run straight and true, laid out in a grid that seems almost modern. Main avenues, wide enough for carts to pass side by side, cross at right angles, dividing the city into neat blocks. The surface is smooth and even, paved with bricks fired to last through monsoon and drought. Within these grids, public spaces open like quiet courtyards. At Mohenjo-Daro, the most striking monument is the Great Bath. This rectangular pool, nearly 12 meters long and 7 meters wide, is sunk deep into the ground. Its walls are built of perfectly fitted bricks, held together with a waterproof mortar. A flight of steps descends into the water from each end. Along the edges, small alcoves may once have held lamps or ritual objects. The floor is coated with a layer of bitumen, black and glossy, sealing the pool against leaks. Rainwater and well water fed the bath through a raised inlet, while a carefully engineered drain carried the overflow away. Even now, after 4,000 years, the Great Bath remains intact, a testament to the builder's skill and the city's devotion to public life. Nearby, the city's citadel rises on a massive brick platform. This was not a palace or a temple in the style of Egypt or Mesopotamia. Instead, it served as a raised sanctuary, safe from floods and set apart from the lower town. The platform itself is a marvel, over 6 meters high, built from thousands of uniform bricks. On its summit, archaeologists have found traces of large halls and storerooms, their thick walls suggesting a place for gatherings, storage, or administration. The air here is still and heavy, carrying only the faintest echo of footsteps from a world long gone. Harappa's citadel stands in quiet parallel. Its fortifications are broad and low, enclosing a series of courtyards and granaries. The granary, a long building divided into rectangular bays, hints at the city's role as a center of storage and redistribution. The streets below are lined with the foundations of houses, each with its own well and bathing platform. In the heart of the city, open spaces may once have hosted markets or civic gatherings, shaded by awnings and cooled by the breeze off the river. Everywhere in these cities, the sense of order is unmistakable. The bricks are nearly identical in size. The streets follow a measured plan, and even the smallest alleyways lead somewhere precise. Wells and drains appear at regular intervals, serving both rich and poor. There are no palaces, no towering statues, no royal tombs, only the quiet geometry of streets, walls, and platforms, shaped by a shared vision of urban life. As dusk settles over the ruins, Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro remain silent, enduring, and mysterious. Their public spaces and monuments invite questions that have no easy answers. What ceremonies filled the Great Bath? Who gathered in the citadel halls? What stories linger in the bricks and shadows? The cities stand as their own kind of riddle, offering glimpses of a civilization that valued order, community, and the steady rhythm of daily life. In their silence, they keep the secrets of a world that once flourished, then faded into the night. Beneath the quiet surface of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro lies a world built on precision. Streets run in perfect grids, not by accident, but by careful design. Each block is measured, each intersection deliberate. The main avenues stretch wide enough for carts to pass side by side, while smaller lanes branch off in a pattern that repeats across the city. This order is not just for show. It is the backbone of daily life, guiding movement, shaping neighborhoods, and defining public spaces. The bricks themselves tell a story of discipline. At every major site, the same proportions appear again and again, a length, width, and height that follow a 1:2:4 ratio. In Mohenjo-Daro, bricks measure 7 by 14 by 28 centimeters, while at Harappa, the numbers shift only slightly. This standard is so consistent that archaeologists can date layers by the smallest shift in size. The molds and kilns that fired these bricks must have been run by skilled workers, following shared rules and perhaps overseen by a central authority. The result is a cityscape where every wall, every platform, and every drain fits together like pieces of a single plan. Water is everywhere, managed with the same attention to detail. Wells dot the city, each lined with rings of baked brick set in lime mortar. Most are just over 1 meter wide, deep enough to reach the water table even in dry years. At Harappa, more than 30 wells have been uncovered, some with stone slab covers and repair layers of sand and broken brick. These details are evidence that maintenance was routine, not rare. These wells fed not only households but also public baths and reservoirs. At Mohenjo-Daro, the Great Bath is joined by 2 large reservoirs, each built with thick brick walls and waterproof lime clay plaster. Overflow drained into soak pits filled with gravel, filtering water before it returned to the earth. The drainage system is perhaps the most remarkable feature of all. Under the main streets, covered sewers run for hundreds of meters. These brick-lined drains, often V-shaped and sloped at a precise angle, carry stormwater and waste out of the city. Smaller drains from houses and courtyards feed into the larger channels, creating a hierarchy that keeps water moving, even during the heaviest monsoon. Archaeologists have found repair layers, new bricks laid over old, fresh mortar ceiling cracks, and sand deposits that show regular cleaning. Some drains even include soak pits designed to catch silt and prevent blockages. This is not the work of chance. It is the product of planning, teamwork, and a deep understanding of the land and its cycles. In every brick and every drain, the Indus Valley reveals itself as a civilization of collective engineers. There are no grand statues or royal palaces, but the cities themselves stand as monuments to shared effort and quiet ingenuity. The uniformity of materials, the care for water, and the evidence of ongoing maintenance all suggest a society where order was not imposed by force, but woven into the fabric of daily life. The question of who directed this work remains unanswered. Was it a council, a class of skilled planners, or the slow accumulation of tradition? The streets and sewers offer no names, only the silent proof of cooperation across generations. As dusk settles over these ancient cities, the quiet grids and hidden drains remind us that greatness can be measured not in conquest, but in the calm, steady work of building a place to last. Morning in the Indus Valley began with the quiet tasks of survival and skill. In the shadow of brick-lined streets, people gathered in courtyards to grind grain between heavy stones. Millet, wheat, and barley, grown in fields fed by the monsoon's return, formed the backbone of every meal. Archaeologists have found charred grains and plant husks pressed into the earth, silent witnesses to countless loaves and porridges. Lentils and peas, too, took root in the silt-rich soil, their remains sifted from the floors of ancient kitchens. Cooking fires flickered in every home. Clay ovens, shaped by hand and fired in local kilns, baked flatbreads. Pots and storage jars, their surfaces marked by the press of fingers and cord, lined shelves and storerooms. From these vessels, families drew out pulses and spices, dried fish, and sometimes the meat of goat or cattle. Yet for most, the meal was simple: a bowl of barley, a handful of lentils, a piece of bread, torn and dipped in stew. The staples of the Indus world were humble but steady. Beyond the household, the city's rhythm pulsed in its workshops. In narrow lanes behind the main avenues, bead makers sat cross-legged, turning rough carnelian and agate into polished ornaments. The debris of their craft, tiny flakes, broken drills, and powder, still gathers in thin layers across Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Some beads, pierced with the finest stone tools, traveled far beyond these cities, strung on cords that crossed deserts and seas. Metallurgists, too, shaped the city's fortunes. Copper and bronze tools, cast in open molds or hammered on stone anvils, filled baskets and shops. The remains of smelting hearths and slag heaps mark the places where ore met fire and where metal was coaxed into blades, fishhooks, and needles. Gold dust, panned from distant rivers, was pressed into rings and tiny figurines. Each piece, no matter how small, spoke of a craft passed down through careful hands. Trade was measured and fair. Weight stones, cut from chert and shaped with geometric precision, have been uncovered in rows: 7 grams, 14 grams, 28 grams, and 56 grams, each doubling the last. This binary sequence formed the basis of exchange, allowing merchants to balance goods with a quiet certainty. In storerooms and market stalls, these stones kept order, their edges worn smooth by years of use. The work of the Indus cities was collective. No single artisan stood apart. Beadmakers, potters, metalworkers, and farmers each played a part in the city's steady life. The evidence lies in the scatter of plant husks, the shavings of stone, the chips of copper, and the silent rows of weights. Through these traces, the ordinary routines of a vanished world come gently back to life, inviting us to imagine the quiet industry that once filled every street and home. South of the main Indus cities, where the river meets the Arabian Sea, Lothal stood as a threshold to distant worlds. Here, the river's slow current merged with tidal estuaries, and the scent of salt water drifted over the settlement. Along the waterfront, workers shaped bricks and laid them in a vast rectangle, building what archaeologists now recognize as the world's earliest known dock. Nearly 200 meters long and over 100 meters wide, this basin was lined with baked brick and designed with a sloped inlet, sheltering ships from the force of monsoon storms. At first light, dock workers gathered by the water, guiding boats heavy with goods from the interior. Merchants moved between warehouses and the dock, pressing seals into soft clay to mark their ledgers. These seals, carved with animals and script, were more than tokens. They were signatures of a system that prized order and accountability. In storerooms nearby, chests overflowed with carnelian beads, their fiery red surfaces polished in Lothal's workshops from local Gujarat stone. These beads, small yet striking, became the city's signature export, valued far beyond the Indus Valley. Evidence of Lothal's reach appears in distant ruins. In Sumerian cities like Ur and Kish, archaeologists have found carnelian beads whose chemical makeup matches the earth near Lothal. Ancient cuneiform tablets from Mesopotamia, written more than 4,000 years ago, mention a land called Meluha, a place of ships, cotton, ivory, and precious stones. Meluha's name recurs in these records, always tied to exotic cargo and foreign traders. Among the goods listed were carnelian, shell ornaments, and fine textiles, mirroring the products of Indus workshops. Lothal's dock was built for more than local traffic. Its basin could hold large, flat-bottomed boats, and the brick floor still bears the marks of anchor stones, heavy blocks with central holes for mooring vessels. Fragments of marine shell and barnacle traces in the silt confirm the presence of seawater and ocean-going craft. Some scholars suggest the dock's inlet may have included a primitive lock system, letting ships rise and fall with the tides while keeping the basin calm. From Lothal, merchants sailed west on the monsoon winds, bound for the Persian Gulf and Mesopotamia. The journey was long and uncertain, but copper from Oman, tin, lapis lazuli, and new markets awaited. Through a dock of brick, a bead of carnelian, and a name in foreign clay, the Indus world reveals its outward gaze, a civilization connected by sea and story. In the quiet corners of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, artisans pressed soft clay into carved molds, leaving behind a puzzle that has yet to be solved. The seals they made, small square tokens, carry the marks of a script that no one alive can read. Each seal is stamped with a handful of symbols, rarely more than 5, sometimes as few as 2 or 3. Over decades of excavation, archaeologists have catalogued 417 distinct signs, but the average inscription is brief, almost cryptic. On the surface of a tiny tablet, a row of marks stands in silent sequence, their meaning locked away. There are no long texts, no stories or prayers, only these short strings, like fragments of a language that vanished before it could be recorded. The people who carved these signs remain nameless. Their tools, found in the debris of workshops, show careful hands and practiced skill. Some seals bear images of animals, a unicorn, a humped bull, a crocodile, paired with the script. Others are plain, marked only by the mysterious symbols. The seals traveled far, pressed into clay to close jars or mark bundles, and some have turned up in distant Mesopotamian cities, proof of a world that reached beyond the Indus Plain. Yet the meaning of the signs and the rules that govern their use are lost. Scholars have tried for generations to break the code, comparing sign patterns, counting frequencies, searching for clues in repetition and order. In 2024, $1 million prize was offered for a solution, but the script remains silent. This quiet extends beyond the seals. In the heart of these ancient cities, there are no towering palaces, no temples crowned with statues, no royal tombs lined with gold. The citadels rise on brick platforms, but they hold storerooms and halls, not thrones. Houses cluster in neat blocks, their walls nearly alike, their wells shared. When burials are found, they are simple pits, each with a few modest offerings, beads, pottery, sometimes a copper mirror. There is no sign of a ruling class laid to rest in splendor. The absence is striking. Other ancient societies left behind monuments to power, pyramids, ziggurats, mausoleums. Here, the evidence of hierarchy is faint, scattered in the size of a house or the quality of a crafted bead, not in stone or inscription. The questions multiply, even as the evidence grows. Who wrote the script, and for whom? Did the seal makers serve a hidden elite, or did the symbols belong to the many? Why did a civilization so skilled in planning and engineering leave no record of its rulers, its gods, or its laws? The streets and drains are precise, the bricks uniform, but the voices of those who built them have faded into the dusk. In the silence of the Indus cities, the greatest mysteries are not what was made, but what was never said. Across the old floodplains, the silence of vanished cities lingers. In that quiet, scholars gather clues, each one a fragment of a larger puzzle that resists a single answer. 6 explanations rise to the surface, each shaped by the work of climate scientists, geomorphologists, and economic archaeologists who sift through sediments, pollen, and broken bricks for signs of what happened. Some look to the sky and the rhythm of the monsoon. Stalagmites from Mamluh Cave, deep in Assam, record a sudden drop in rainfall around 2200 BCE, a 30% decline that lasted for centuries. This weakening monsoon echoed in the chemistry of Arabian Sea sediments and the pollen of ancient lake beds, hints at fields drying and rivers shrinking. Crops would have failed, and the dependable cycles that fed city life faltered. Yet, even as drought gripped the plains, upland regions kept their moisture, and some settlements endured. Climate, it seems, played a role, but not the only one. Others traced the courses of lost rivers. The Gaga Hakra, once a lifeline for eastern cities, shifted away from its ancient bed around 1900 BCE. Satellite images and the dating of sand deposits reveal a river that turned to dust, leaving towns like Kalibangan and Rakhigarhi without water. In the wake of this avulsion, canals filled with silt and mud brick reservoirs replaced the old channels. But the river's disappearance cannot explain why western sites, far from the Gaga Hakra, also emptied out. The answer lies elsewhere too. Economic archaeologists follow the trail of trade. Pottery shards and cargo lists tell of a time when copper, tin, and carnelian beads flowed between the Indus and distant Sumerian ports. Around 2100 BCE, these links began to fray. Imported shells and metals dwindled, and the debris of craft workshops faded. Settlement maps show a sharp decline in city mounds. urban life giving way to scattered hamlets. Yet, as droughts deepened, surpluses for export shrank. The collapse of trade may have been both a cause and a symptom, one thread in a tangle of decline. Disease leaves quieter traces. In cemeteries along the old riverbanks, skeletons from the late Harappan phase show signs of stress, enamel defects, bone lesions, markers of hardship and illness. In the DNA of burial remains, hints of new lineages appear, suggesting some migration from the northwest. Ancient chronicles from Mesopotamia speak of pestilence sweeping across distant lands. But the evidence is faint, the sample small, and the marks of epidemic blur into those of hunger and hardship. No single theory stands alone. The strongest consensus, built from pollen grains, river sands, and broken weights, points to a slow unraveling. Droughts strained the land, rivers shifted course, trade routes faltered, and disease may have hastened the end. The pattern is uneven. Some cities lingered, others faded quickly. The story is one of overlapping causes, not a single disaster. Each expert, whether reading cavestone or mapping ancient channels, adds a piece to the mosaic, but the whole remains just out of reach. Tonight, as the evidence is weighed, the Indus Valley's disappearance remains an open question. Complex, layered, and unresolved. The silence of its cities endures, inviting us to listen for answers that may never fully come. In the quiet rooms of modern laboratories and the open expanse of satellite maps, the search for the Indus Valley story continues. Science does not stand still. Each year, new tools open windows into the past, inviting us to see with different eyes and ask new questions. The evidence left by the Indus world, its bricks, bones, and buried riverbeds, now passes through hands trained in disciplines undreamed of by the first excavators. Radiocarbon dating, once a marvel, is now routine. In the last few decades, labs have refined their methods, measuring the faintest traces of carbon in charred seeds and animal bone. Each sample is weighed, cleaned, and tested, its age calculated with algorithms that account for the quirks of ancient carbon cycles. The result is a timeline that grows sharper with every new discovery. At Mohenjo-Daro, recent campaigns have pushed the earliest secure occupation back to around 3,300 BCE, aligning its rise with Harappa and reshaping our sense of when the first cities took root. At Harappa, more than 70 radiocarbon dates cluster around key transitions: the shift to fired brick, the emergence of city planning, the slow retreat into rural life. These numbers are not fixed points but probabilities, each one a brushstroke in the larger portrait of the civilization's unfolding. Above the ground, satellites trace the ghosts of rivers that no longer flow. High-resolution images, captured by orbiting eyes, reveal paleochannels, old beds of the Gaga, Hakra, and Indus, winding across the plains in faint, silvery lines. Analysts use geographic information systems to layer settlement maps over these ancient waterways, searching for patterns that might explain why towns rose, moved, or vanished. In some places, the satellite record shows a sudden break, a river that shifted course, leaving a city stranded far from water. In others, the traces are more subtle: a patch of greener earth, a change in soil, the shadow of a buried wall. Each image is measured, compared, and added to a growing digital atlas of the Indus world. Within museum drawers and storerooms, the smallest clues rest in silence: teeth, bones, and fragments of ancient DNA. Geneticists extract these fragile threads, searching for traces of ancestry, disease, or migration. The process is painstaking. A single tooth can take weeks to yield its secrets. Yet even a handful of results can hint at connections, a lineage that links Indus burials to distant populations, a marker of stress or illness in a time of change. The evidence is always partial, always open to revision, but it adds new layers to the old questions. Who lived here? Where did they come from? And how did they adapt as their world shifted? None of these methods offers a final answer. Instead, they encourage a kind of patient humility. Each test, each scan, each model is a step in a long conversation between the present and the past. The story of the Indus Valley is not fixed. It grows and changes as new data arrives, as old theories are tested and sometimes set aside. The uncertainty is not a failure, but a sign that the search is still alive. In this way, the mystery endures, not as a puzzle to be solved once and for all, but as an invitation to look closer, to listen longer, and to let the evidence guide us gently through the dusk of history. Welcome to DuskArchives. This is bedtime history, where we explore the past slowly, calmly, and in depth. Tonight, the enigma endures. No single theory can fully explain why such a sophisticated civilization dissolved so quietly. Each uncovered artifact deepens the sense of absence, not resolution. Still, new discoveries continue to challenge what we know and what we may never know. Even now, thousands of years later, the Indus Valley Civilization remains one of history's greatest mysteries. A society that rose in brilliance and disappeared without a clear trace. And as the night grows quieter, their story fades once again into silence.